Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 137 of the MTB podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I'm Jared.
I'm Liam.
I'm Trevor.
That is right. Trevor is back in the house. Jeff is in Pennsylvania doing God knows what.
Chilling with the Amish.
That's right.
He's probably visiting the Pennsylvania shop.
He is visiting the Pennsylvania shop. Isn't he doing like some adventure race or something like that too?
No, he comes back and then he leaves for that.
Okay.
Because I'm tuning up his bike today for that.
There you go.
Yep.
So Jeff is gearing up for an adventure race. But today we are going to talk about the bikes and rides we've been enjoying lately, a couple of great articles that we've been working on, and some excellent listener questions ranging from how geometry and sizing varies to who would win in an arm wrestling match and everything in between.
That's broad.
That is pretty broad. You know, that leaves kind of everything out there on the table. A lot of possibilities. Zach's words of wisdom: use your vacation days, people. You know, I like to say they don't cash checks in heaven, and they also don't accept vacation days either.
No.
So use them while you're here. You know, you don't want to just, take a day off, go ride your bike. I don't know, do whatever you like to do.
Work hard, but not too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful outside right now in California.
First beautiful day really we've had in like 2 months. It's been, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the terminology May gray or June gloom, but it's been pretty thick and, consistent out here.
Yep.
I rode this morning and got half and half.
Oh, there you go.
I got half gray, half sun. And
that's always fun.
Kind of best of both worlds. A little AC in the morning and heater in the afternoon. And yeah, it was great.
A lot of my rides have been starting out in the clouds and climbing above the clouds and then dropping back into the clouds. So
a little yin and yang.
Yep.
There you go. Speaking of which, Daniel's fun fact: lemons float, but limes sink.
Is that true?
I verified it. That's what people say because limes are actually slightly denser than lemons.
Are lemon and limes actually different trees?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I know that because I have two in my backyard. And they don't grow out of the same tree.
Limes could just be pulled sooner than lemons, and then they turn into yellow lemons.
Mm-hmm. They actually all come from the Sprite tree.
Because a lot of peppers. Oh, that's
right.
It.
Yeah,
a lot of peppers, like bell peppers.
Yeah,
all come from the same bush. They just are pulled at different times.
Really? I did not know that.
I believe so.
That's pretty cool.
Don't hold me to
it. We'll verify that for next week's fun fact.
I just thought lemons and limes were the same. So,
well, I could see that, but that kind of is an excellent segue, Liam, into our fantastic testimonial. This I found was pretty entertaining. This is a review on the Kettle site for the No Fry Sun shirt. This guy says, GF said I looked hot and I felt cool. Broke this puppy out climbing Mount Wrightson in southern AZ. I put it on at home and my GF said, you look hot. I'm turning 30 this year and my developing love handles, I call them my flanks, have been a bummer to behold, so this compliment was much needed. And she was right. I did look hot. The shirt stayed cool in the AZ heat and protected my precious flanks and other skin from the exposed ridge on a big mountain climb. Awesome shirt. Bring the hoodie back in stock. And
we are trying.
We are getting hoodies back in stock. That's actually been insanely popular garment for Kettle, which is pretty cool.
They have.
And they've been flying. So those are coming back soon. And if you would want one of those, put your email on the site and you'll get a notification right when it comes back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually love the sun shirt. I got one myself recently. And bless you, Liam. And so that's a great super lightweight. It's actually insane how lightweight that thing is. And it's great for super hot days and riding bikes. And
dude, it's good for everything. Good for hiking.
It is good for everything.
Doing trail work out there. And
it is.
I saw Jeff riding the other day and I was like, oh, who's this guy? He had the Kettle sun hoodie on, right? With a hoodie on underneath his helmet, cruising through the neighborhood. And I was laughing at him. I honked and waved and laughed.
That's hilarious.
But he did say that was his third activity for the day. So he's in the sun all day doing a kayak, then a run, then a bike, preparing for this adventure race. So
that's fair.
When you're in the sun all day, that's what you have to do to not get burnt.
Yeah, when you're out there letting it all hang out, like what you look like is probably the least of your worries.
Sometimes it doesn't matter what you look like. As long as it's effective, that's really all he cares about.
Exactly.
So. Yep.
Exactly. I actually even saw some review that some guy said he was sleeping in it. So that's crazy, but good for you, man. If you like it that much, awesome.
It's pretty lightweight. I would sleep in that.
Right? It is comfortable. It's not my preferred pajama material, but hey.
You like pajamas?
only pajama bottoms in short form, not long.
Matching with Paige.
Super. Yeah. Well, sometimes, not all the time.
On Christmas morning.
That's
Yeah. Good. Speaking of apparel, bikes and rides we've been enjoying lately. You guys did a pretty ridiculous ride.
Yeah, we did. Liam was signing up to do the LA Tourist Race, or one of the LA Tourist Race.
Called the Great Descent.
Oh, there's a series.
Well, so there's the LA Tourist Race series, which is like it's a gravel like checkpoint race. So you've got to like navigate your own route and collect checkpoints. This is different. This is a set route, A to B race, and it's mostly descending, but still has some climbing. So
nice.
Yeah, we kind of did a pre-ride day, and I joined along. I had no plans of racing it, so I was just gonna come along for the adventure. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
None of us really did.
Yeah, thought we were gonna do the full route. Turns out we did half of it because it was already a huge day.
Yeah,
and much of the trail was severely overgrown, and it was just a big adventure. Pretty much starting in the San Gabriel Mountains, top of like Mount Wilson, behind there, Silver Moccasin area, and then going all the way down Gabrielino Trail, all the way into some crazy wash to JPL. And if you're around the area in LA, you kind of know those trails a little bit maybe, but some of the trails I had no idea even were a thing, and they were so overgrown.
Yeah.
I had handguards on. First time Liam did not have handguards on, and he was pretty much bloody the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Just getting bashed around. And
I didn't wear pants, and I'm covered in poison oak. We had I'm not exaggerating. There's literally about 25 to 30 water crossings.
Yeah.
Wow.
And pretty deep too, where you kind of have to send it or go super slow and just be fully accepting that you're going to be soaked the whole time, and your bike's going to get trashed. Like, just pretty gnarly ride, and that was only half of it. So
wow.
I was like, nope, I'm not going to race that. That's not what I'm about. It's not really fun to me, but it was a fun adventure. I had fun the whole time on the ride, but doing that as a race and going past that point would be pretty extreme for me.
Well, even while doing it and finishing, I was questionable if I was going to show up just because of what we did. It took us like 3.5 hours moving time, 5 hours elapsed time.
Wow.
To get to the middle point where we parked our cars. And I was like, man, this is an adventure. This is a gnarly day. And then, you kind of forget a little bit. And then I was like, well, if I had handguards, and I was trying to justify it to myself. So I did go last weekend. I did do the whole route. The top is sick. The top is really sick.
Top was cool. Silver Moccasin's cool. Yeah. Gabrielino downhill trail was pretty cool.
Yeah, the upper part of it. And having done it and knowing what was coming up, I think helped a lot. Like, I didn't memorize the trail, but I knew like what sections were what, and like, okay, now I'm going to have 30 water crossings. Okay, now I'm going to be charging through overgrown trails for a while, So I didn't know the last kind of like, I'd say third. It was more like 2/3. We did 2/3 pre-ride, and then the last kind of third, well, I guess it was about half. I take that back. I did not know. So
yeah, like when you see the course map on Trailforks or on Strava or whatever, and you see the squiggly line down a mountain, there's not really anything to show you what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And
there's like no context.
There's zero context.
Even looking at topo, you can't fully tell.
You can't tell. Yeah. And you see some climbs in there, but you don't know how big they are really.
Yeah.
Like when you're actually doing them. And when you're at the start point, you can kind of see like 3 mountain ranges down where you need to end up. And you're like, damn, that's so far away. Yeah. How are we even going to get there?
So and overgrown makes it like the going tough, right? You're not going nearly as fast as you would be.
You're not going fast. So yeah, I ended up, I got a couple cups and like top 10s up top.
How'd you do in the race though?
I did pretty good. I'm getting there.
Doesn't want to give it away.
But no, and then did the whole route to where we did, and then from there, I kind of took off on the next couple climbs because we were about 3.5 hours in at that point, and I just really punched these last couple climbs, made it all the way in. So I ended up doing the whole route in 4.5 hours, which it took us like 3.5 to do half of it. So it made it go by way faster, and then ended up winning overall. So
sick.
Yeah,
well done. Sick.
And what bike did you do it on?
The Yeti ASR with flight attendant, Recon front tire, Icon rear tire. I did put handguards on, which was like completely different from riding the weekend before. And I wore pants, and I wore shoes that drained water really good. And I just completely accepted the fact that I was going to be walking through every water crossing. Because Because when you try to ride them, then you like slip, or you have to take a foot off and you have to put your foot down in the right place. So if you just get off and walk, like you just get through it smoother, faster, like
a little safer too.
Yeah.
Pretty sketchy doing some of those water crossings.
For sure.
Very slippery.
You don't know if there's going to be a massive boulder underneath there or whatever, or like, like you say, you get bucked off, whatever.
What were some of the stats of the race?
It's 12,000 feet of descending. It was 5,500 feet of climbing. I think it was 48 miles.
Wow.
It took me 4 hours and 31 minutes, and I don't know what else.
Pretty chill ride.
Longest shuttle ever.
That's a sick shuttle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow,
it was the Great Descent.
Do they shuttle you up to like the Mount Wilson, like the
you had to shuttle
observatory? Oh, you shuttle yourself?
You go like almost an hour past that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So pretty deep backcountry.
Super deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've actually never.
We were actually closer. If you know the map in the area, we were closer to Acton than we were to Pasadena.
For sure.
And you start and end kind of Burbank, Pasadena area.
That's wild.
It's kind of a trip.
Yep.
That's a sick route. Sounds like though.
It's a mountain bike ride.
That's a mountain bike ride.
It was an adventure, and it was a really good fitness and bike setup for Downeyville. So
sick.
All that went well.
Sweet.
Nice.
No mechanicals, no issues.
Dialed.
That's all I can ask for.
It's kind of like a testament to what the ASR is capable of.
Yeah, I know some people were on like pretty big bikes, and I think we caught some people that are like, how'd you already catch us? And it's like, yeah, because this bike rips.
It's a testament to modern XC bikes, man.
It is.
They roll so fast, and you did 12,000 feet of descending. That's huge.
That's huge.
On not smooth trails at all.
No.
Very rough trails.
Yeah.
And pretty extreme terrain. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Kudos. Wow. That's a beast.
So it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah. I've just been chilling, cruising around Dos Vientos. Nothing like that.
Commuting on your e-bike.
Yeah, exactly. Ripping the commuter around. I don't know. Nothing. Yeah. Just kind of cruising. Gosh, that sounds epic though. I've been wanting to go ride in that area for a long time, but I've heard,
we should wait till like
and,
fall when the plants die and the poison oak dies a bit.
That sounds cool.
Speaking of plants, the only way you can even ride trails now is if you just weed whack the trails.
Seriously.
That's what I've been doing lately is just weed whacking.
Kind of is that time of year.
Kind of wild to have to do it, but otherwise the trails are, at least in Southern California right now, are unrideable. Yeah. So handguards, doing some trail work, and that's about it.
For sure. Yeah. We got like ridiculous rain season, the mud, and then just like nice little stretch of like epic trail, and then it's just like overgrown season.
Yeah, we had 2 months of like such good bike riding in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it just went horrible.
And you do have to take advantage of it.
Like, you do. Yeah, you got to get the getting while the getting's good, Speaking of which, we're talking about your setup kind of and tires and how you're riding a Maxxis cross-country tire. Review, blog, comparison?
Yeah.
Yes to all of the above?
All of it.
Because I saw a photo, there was like 10 tires or something in a pile, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So, I usually choose to ride Maxxis XC tires. I just think they have the best combination of grip, reliability, consistency, casing feel, and rolling resistance. Like, there might be one or two that kind of beats Maxxis out in a certain area, but I think for me, Maxxis is like the most reliable. Earlier this year, I asked Maxxis if they would be willing to send out a handful of tires. And they said, no problem. What do you want? So pretty much got 2 or 3 of every tire they make, from Aspen, Recon Race, Icon, Recon, and Forecaster. Mm-hmm. And then later came Aspen STs and Team Spec Aspen tires. Mm-hmm. So I pretty much have ridden everything in between all those, almost all the combinations I can. And really kind of laying out all my thoughts on them and why I'm choosing certain tires for what. But like I rode Aspens at Moab Rocks earlier this year, which I never thought I'd ride Aspens. I like saw that tire. I'm like, dude, how do people ride that?
Especially in Moab.
Especially like trying to push hard on downhills. Like I know Jeff Kabush ran it at Downeyville last year, front and rear, and he did not flat.
That's
and
wild.
He still pulled like a, top 5 or something like that.
Crazy.
That's insane.
So I knew people could ride them, but having ridden them, it's a lot about tire pressure and just the way you ride that tire, but it works way better than expected. So like that was pretty surprising. Just one bit of that article. We'll be on that. And at this race, I ran Recon front, Icon rear, and I'm 90% sure that's when I'm going to run at Downeyville this year as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
It's cool because it's like such a specific thing, like the XC kind of genre of tires.
Yep.
And like to the average rider, they're all going to think they're just going to ride pretty much the same, right? They're just fast rolling, not much grip. But if you are into XC racing and you are trying to find that edge, then the tire choice is everything.
For sure. And it's not just like straight XC racing, like, you're going out and doing your little XC local race. Like these are races or courses or trails that require some real like bike skill and handling, where you don't just want the fastest tire possible, right? You need a tire to not fall on your face.
Yeah.
So you need control.
Yeah, there's a wide spectrum of tires within that cross country segment, right?
Yeah. I feel like there's more tires in XC lineup than there are in like the downhill kind of gravity oriented lineup, which is pretty surprising because you just think grip is always a premium for that downhill kind of enduro stuff, but I guess it's maybe more important as well for a cross country rider where there's not much to be had.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that article should be up pretty soon, and pretty stoked to try out all these tires.
So would you say Recon, Icon? Is that what you said you were running just now?
Yeah, Recon, Icon.
Favorite like overall like daily XC setup? Yeah,
I think for like the kind of ASR kind of that 120 mil bike, for me, that's the best balance of rolling speed and like predictable grip.
Yeah.
That I found. Like the Forecaster has better grip, but it rolls a bit slower. It's also like 150 grams heavier than a Recon.
Mm-hmm.
Dual Recons is quite good for just everyday riding as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dual Icons is a classic. I used to race on that way back on 2.2s. Now I'm on a 235.
Dang.
And I'd say the only tire I don't love is the Recon Race.
Yeah.
To me, it just felt unpredictable on our SoCal loose over hard terrain. Climbing traction was slippery, downhill is kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But I've also talked to other people, like people swear by that tire in Bentonville.
Huh.
Like the sharp rock and stuff. I guess it has like the good characteristics of, flat prevention and grip. So
it's good volume, right? It's a voluminous
it is good volume,
tire.
Yeah. So it is, terrain dependent, right? But yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Trevor, you got another sick article you just did too on your 140. That was really nice.
I've had my Yeti SB140 for over a year now. So wrote a kind of a long-term review and kind of in-depth bike check over on it. And I've been so happy with that bike and really have just been gelling with it. It's really been the only bike I've ridden lately just because it's so perfect for everything around me, and I can change it to different trails with just a little setup like tire change and make the whole bike just way different. So I've been pretty stoked on that. Articles on the website if you guys want to check it out, worldwidecyclery.com.
Worldwidecyclery.com.
I'll
put it in the show notes.
Insanely reliable and been having a ton of fun on it. And you can go check out my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's legit. I like how you went into each kind of like component selection and kind of like dissected what you liked about it while you're in it, like how it's been working out for you so far.
There's a rhyme and reason for all of it.
Yeah.
Every single part of my bike is a reason for it. So and I kind of chose that based off of how I like to ride and what style I ride. So pretty excited to ride that the rest of the summer, maybe get something new after that. So stoked.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah, it's honestly super impressive. I think I'm most impressed by how well the transmission has worked on your bike. Just like for probably last at least a year or so right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it for over a year.
You had it pre-release. So.
I had it pre-release, and I just found out that my chain is a little bit stretched. So
that's crazy.
I don't know how many miles I put on the bike, but it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And I've taken care of it, obviously, but I've had zero shifting issues, never broke a chain. And it's just starting to stretch now. I looked at the cassette and chainring like in detail last night just to really see what was going on. They look fine. Yeah. So very happy with that.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's quiet and rips.
A chain a year, and that'll probably the drivetrain probably get by another couple of years at least, right?
Yeah, I mean the T-type chains are considerably more expensive than
that is true.
Any other chain.
Mm-hmm.
But if you add into the fact that you don't have to replace it as much, then that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. PSA, check your chains.
Yeah.
Do not let them stretch.
Check your chains. Yep.
Check your chains.
I need to go change mine tonight, maybe.
Yeah.
There you go. Sick. That's awesome. Well, should we hop into a couple of listener questions before we take our first break?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Liam, you want to read that?
I would love to. Do you guys pre-read the questions prior to the podcast and then say, hey, blank, read the next question? As Jared just did. Then that person has to say potentially something embarrassing like, I poop, or Jeff needs a mohawk, or I ride a Yeti.
That's hilarious.
I feel like the calling out is just random.
Yeah, it is. It is random.
But we pre-read this stuff, though.
We do pre-read the questions.
I, this time around, have not pre-read any of these questions. I did not have time today.
There you go.
So today I had not pre-read any of them, but we don't
we don't rehearse our answers.
We don't rehearse answers. Yeah.
It's all spontaneous, and
we
see it as
we just make sure that the question is going to provide value.
Yeah, we're not going to throw each other under the bus for no reason, right?
Yeah,
there's got to be a reason for them.
We might. We might. I don't
know. Jared sets up the docs, so Jared does read them a lot more in depth than the rest of us. But I just mainly go through, make sure it makes sense. Also, we try to make sure we know an answer. Because if we don't know an answer, I'm not just going to go, well, that was a good question, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
That's a good point, Liam. It is something like when we're going through questions, we pick ones that we feel like we can bring value to, and not just like, whoa, yeah, I'll read this one. I don't know. You guys know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, cool. Next question. Like, no, we try not to do that. So cool. Next one.
And I don't think riding a Yeti is as embarrassing as riding other bikes. Specialized.
Oh, man. Awesome. No, I love my Yeti. Long time, first time. I'm out in Western Canada, and I've been biking for a lot of years along trails in BC and Alberta. I've always been cozy riding chunky tech and finding weird nonsense lines, which made old trails feel like new experiences. I've also always been a safe rider, but a few seasons ago I had a rough crash and ended up breaking my wrist real bad. This had an unexpected side effect for me. My confidence is at an all-time low. I've been going way slower, always opting for beelines, and often sticking to easier trails altogether. Where blacks and double blacks used to be my home, blues have become the default. The question I have for y'all is this. Have you ever gone through something similar? If so, any tips to help find your confidence again? In all honesty, it's been super frustrating and a bit demoralizing, especially because I've been turning down invitations to do some old favorite trails with friends. But I know myself, and for me, riding without confidence is a recipe for further crashes. Many thanks, loving my Hellsgate grips. Being is a beast, and sending lots of love. Great question. I think that's something we can all kind of relate to.
Yeah, I feel like we've all been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a crash on Saturday. I haven't crashed in a while. And I went over the bars on Saturday, and it kills your confidence for sure. Like you're like, oh, wasn't expecting that, or just crushes you. And I never always thought that confidence was a big deal until you lose it.
Yeah. Until you no longer have it.
Until you no longer have it, and then you're scared to do things, and you really do need that confidence to push, and the less you're kind of thinking about that, the safer you are, really. So
yeah,
I would say just really try and progress slowly and build your way up, but don't be afraid to keep on doing what you were doing before. I mean, that's part of the game, right?
Yeah. Try to push those blue trails, push the speed on it a bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe if there's a tabletop, try to, feel out the jump and get that air time, as well as just going to black trail, maybe not the smartest by yourself, but maybe with one buddy, and just sessioning features.
Yeah.
Sessioning stuff that, in a full like trail run, you might be a little nervous to do, but like if you set up for it and you just kind of roll it, or you continue to hit the jump and you session a few times, you get confidence on that one feature. And then when you're going back to ride it another week or two later with some friends, you can just hit it in the trail run.
Yeah. Going off of that, also, like if you're able to do the same trail, like 4 times in a row, kind of like you're shuttling it almost. Yeah. First lap, kind of roll everything, check it all out, make sure it's all safe, and then just do it over and over and over again. And by like the 5th run, you're going to be up to speed, full of confidence, figuring out how to ride a bike again, and you'll be stoked.
Yeah, for sure. Or even that, like a bike park or something like that, where you can progress and, work your way up the progression matrix. Like for instance, Whistler, you obviously hit warm up laps, and then, you're not just going to go like balls to the wall right away, right? Like
you warm up on A-line right away, duh.
Oh yeah, warm up on A-line right away. But yeah, warm up and build that confidence. Like I can totally relate to this. Like when we rode with Adam Miller and I was riding that RLT9 and I twisted my ankle, rolled my ankle real bad over at the water tower. And I always look at that feature a little bit different. And then, but going back to it and doing it again was probably the best thing I could have done, right? Like put that to bed, like, okay, I can do this. I just made a stupid mistake that one time. You can also go back and reevaluate like what you did wrong in that instance. Like, did I come too hot into this section? Was I like set up poorly? Was I tired or like fatigued? Like there's typically something that goes into a crash, right? So yeah, that's what I would do.
It's part of the game though.
It is part of the game. Yeah. And you know, like these guys said, you just progress and kind of build that confidence, that speed up again, and you'll be ripping again in no time.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to keep on pushing yourself, even if you're feeling low, like little wins at a time add up.
For sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of wins, should we have an ad?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Our ad's a winner.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, Jeff again. I just wanted to quickly mention that this podcast is sponsored by you. If you have ever purchased from Worldwide Cyclery, Trail One, or Kettle, you have supported us and we genuinely appreciate it and thank you. It's not the easiest to operate a small business in this day and age, especially not in the bike industry right now. And if you've ever bought from us, I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Thank you. That's all.
And now, back to the show. You want to read this one, Trev?
I'll read it. Yo, boys. Been loving the pod. Hopefully get the chance to do another trip with y'all soon. Anyone want to join the Trans-Sierra Norte? We got a crew going down from Missoula.
Woo-woo.
Question. What are your opinions on aftermarket brake pads, MTX, Galfer, etc.? Tried them. I've tried all of them. Some seem to be more powerful, MTX. Some seem to wear quicker, Galfer, but I'm just one rider. What have you guys found and what do you ride? Have a drink for me. Cheers. Question is from the homie Corey Sobin.
What's up, Corey? Thanks for the question, bud.
Hey, Corey.
We miss you. Looking forward to riding with you again soon.
I would like to go to Oaxaca and not do Trans-Sierra Norte, but just go with you, Corey. So
that's the one that you did, right, Trevor?
Yeah, I did the Trans-Sierra Norte race, and it was cool. It was very hard. 22 or so blind stages in Mexican jungle.
So sick.
Some of the trails were extremely physical, like top to bottom 3,000 foot descents where I had 200 millimeter rotors on codes on my 130. Fried.
That's crazy.
Fried. Downhill casing tires, like the whole nine.
That's amazing.
Everything got fried. But yeah, cool experience. Tough race. If I would go back, I would just ride, not race it, because the racing is just kind of gnarly.
Really?
Racing blind is gnarly.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in Mexico.
For sure.
Yeah.
Far away from home.
Have fun. Blind, should be sick.
Yeah.
Excited to go back to Mexico with Liam
like
in August.
Yeah, you guys are going to have
Corey,
so much fun.
Corey, you should join our August trip.
There you go.
Yeah, you should do that.
There you go. Brake pads.
Brake pads.
So I try to run stock stuff for the brakes, but during COVID, some companies were out of stock with a lot of things.
That's true.
Had to resort to aftermarket pads. I was running XTR brakes, 4-pot, and Shimano was just out of brake pads.
That's true. For a long time.
I did try. It was horrible. So I tried the Galfer Pro pads, the green colored pads. And I was very impressed. Nice. They were super good, super quiet. No complaints about those. I didn't really have a opinion on if they wore quick or not, just because I just didn't really care about that. But was really impressed with that. Jeff just put Galfer pads and rotors on his Ranger.
Did, and he said they work really well.
He's stoked on those.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Better than the stock SRAM stuff he was running.
Never tried MTX. The only thing I would say is you have to be careful. Sometimes, like the tolerance on some of the pads is not perfect. So sometimes it'll stick in the caliper or not be perfect.
Exactly.
Or the clip will be a little bit off, you know?
I have ran MTX. We don't have them on the site. It's just a hard product for us to sell at that price point. But I did think the MTX worked well. I didn't have any issues with them. I do think they lasted forever. Like I will say those things lasted like, it's one of those where like, oh, I haven't checked my brake pads in a while. Let me check them. And I'm like, dude, there's still 50% or more left. Like that shouldn't be.
Were they the red ones?
I tried red and gold.
Yeah.
I don't remember the difference between the two, but I had both to try. And they're great. And then recently I just tried the absolute black graphene pads.
You did.
And those feel like a powerful organic pad. They don't quite bite and like have that consistent feel that Centered had that I kind of like. The MTX feel more like Centered to me. The Absolute Black felt, a little bit, I don't want to say mushy because that's like a bad brake term, but they didn't have quite like the sharpness of Centered, but they worked really well and they didn't seem to wear too fast. So I have another set that I might try on my ASR. and give them another back-to-back comparison. But those, those weren't negative. Those weren't bad. So
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried the MTX. Actually, well, it was a customer bike actually that came in, so I didn't try them for a long time, but he had them in his codes because I was like, oh, this looks pretty interesting. And I just took it for a lap and I was like, whoa, this is actually way different than what I expected. And he had their MTX red ceramic pads in there.
What's the difference between red and gold? Do you know?
I do not know the difference actually, but we should look. But yeah, they felt just honestly kind of changed how the brakes felt or compared to mine. I guess, there's also, you get codes on 3 different bikes and they all feel 3 different ways, right? But I mean,
if they're newer, really they feel better.
Yeah, it varies on how smoked your rotor is or how good your pistons are. All that stuff matters.
Totally, it does.
But I don't think it's a bad thing to try it.
No.
I would say probably change your rotor every time you do that, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. In an ideal world, but
you'll be all right.
Yeah, you will. But yeah, it's what was worth trying, a different little something.
Yeah. So the red are the race day, the gold are for heavy bikes and or heavy riders or extreme terrain.
Oh.
So, yeah.
We do like extreme terrain.
But none of us are that heavy.
No. Well, sick.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Corey. Cheers, mate. Greetings from Australia. Recently got back into some trail riding. I'm 45. My kids are 13 and 14. They are frothing over this awesome sport, which is great because they have got me back on my bike. I splashed out and got my 13-year-old son a Nomad V6 medium for his birthday. Sick. That was the size I could find in the model he wanted. He is 5'3", but growing fast, and my thought was it might be best to size up so he gets some more years out of it. Aside from the obvious seat post, any tips on setting him up in what is obviously an oversized frame? Stem already looks short. Maybe I screwed up and should just buy the right size more often.
Well, if it's a stock stem, I'm going to guess it's a 40 or 42.5. And you could find a 32 or 35 mil stem. Yeah. We at Trail One Components make a 32 mil stem, which is quite short. It's basically the shortest you can have with a 35.0 bar.
Right.
So
unless it's one of those stems that's puts the bar on top of it.
Don't run one of those.
That.
that'll make everything feel weird.
Yeah, don't do that.
I would do shorter stem. I would do seat post and also move the seat forward on the rails.
True. You can also get shorter cranks, I guess.
You could do shorter cranks from 5 dev. That'll help bring him up a little bit, and also cutting the bars down to the right width for his shoulders.
That makes a huge difference.
If he's 5'3", I would probably not have him on anything over 750 mil wide.
Yeah,
just as a rough estimate,
740, 750,
maybe even more narrow than that. Buying a $120, $140 bar 2 or 3 times is much cheaper than buying 2 or 3 Nomads.
Yeah, that's a tough question because he's going to be growing fast, and bikes are not cheap. So I think what Liam said is probably the best advice you could give for that. Just change a couple little things like stem and handlebars, cockpit,
which you can change in the long run, right? And even a Nomad, even a medium Nomad for me, I could probably still ride, and I'm 5'11", right? So hopefully this does last him for a good long time. And it's a sick bike. It's probably super fun. But yeah, honestly, and even being 5'3", he's probably not too far off from fitting that bike pretty well.
Yeah, 5'5", you're basically medium territory. So
sick. Well, congratulations
give him some Wheaties, and he'll be there in a couple of years.
On having a couple of kids that also like to ride bikes. That's awesome.
That's cool, man.
Stoked for you guys. Sounds like a blast. This is a heavy hitting question right here.
Hit me.
Chacos or Crocs?
Chacos.
Is it Chacos or Chacos?
Oh, I don't know. It could be Chacos. Is it Lou Dog? Chacos? Chacos.
See, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Chacos. Honestly, if I'm going for style, it's Chacos. If I'm going for comfort, I don't know, maybe still Chacos. Why not both?
Can you do both? I have a pair of Chacos.
Do you really?
And I think they do look kind of all right.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear,
because I've never worn them here.
Open toe shoes.
I'm not wearing open toe shoes to a bike shop. First of all, I'm not like Zach, where I just run around without shoes on. But
I just cannot get buying Crocs. I hope I never do.
Yeah, I think the Crocs are probably more comfortable, but I think
I'm sure they're comfortable.
Chacos look cooler.
I'm not hating on anyone who wears Crocs. I just will not put them on my feet personally.
My problem with the Chacos is that if you're going on a hike, it's good if you're going through a river or something, but it's very easy to get rocks underneath your feet.
Yeah,
and it's very hard to get them out.
Yeah,
so that's an issue.
It's probably nice for cruising casually on your bike. Although riding your bike in sandals is probably not the best either. But
they're not, because they're fully supported on a heel too.
oh
Yeah.
right, so
Kinda
it's
depends
kind
on
of
what
like
you
straps
got.
around the back.
I
right?
I wear
Over the toe.
Chacos all the time at like Downeyville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I put them on and go down the river because
good camping shoes.
you're slipping, getting in the river on the river rocks and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm strapped in, baby.
It's great
I
for
ain't
that.
going nowhere.
All right, I might be looking into some Chacos here soon.
Yeah. I got Vans ones too, so they're not even that like
That's pretty
dorky.
cool. That's
Or they're
pretty
more
cool.
dorky. Depends how you look at it.
You could throw Birks into the mix and you'd really mess this up. I don't know. Y'all know I'm a Birk guy, so maybe Chacos. I don't know. Why not both? You know, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Trevor,
I was
you wanna do this one?
I was trying to talk my friend into buying a full suspension bike. He is adamant that he is a size medium, regardless of manufacturer or model year. I was saying that a 2018 large is a 2024 medium. Am I off base on this, or is he being super stubborn? So 2018 large is a 2024 medium.
If you're looking at one number called reach, that is correct.
Yeah.
However, the way things were sized, your seat tube angle was slacker.
It's true.
Certain things were different. So like your position isn't going to be that much different, but you are correct in saying like if you're looking at the reach number, you know, a 2018 large was 455 and that is now a 2024 medium. Sometimes mediums are bigger than that now. So
Yeah.
I don't think, like he is saying, like it's not like a t-shirt. Yeah, I wear a medium and everything. It's not how bike sizing works, unfortunately. I wish they didn't even do small, medium, large, extra large, because people like your bud get stuck thinking like I'm a medium all the time. It's like not really. I'm a medium on one brand, I'm a large on the other.
Yeah, so it does
And,
change from manufacturer to manufacturer.
And also just how I want the bike to ride, right? Like even my Yeti ASR is a large, but if I were to get a 140, I'd probably get a medium.
Really?
Yeah, for myself. I'm kind of always on that cusp. I'm a large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I'm always on that cusp of XL to large, so it's tough sometimes. But
Yeah.
it does change pretty drastically from bike to bike and
Yep.
manufacturer to manufacturer.
It does. I don't know if you mentioned Mondraker, right? Like size down almost on every Mondraker, right?
Yeah.
If I rode a large Mondraker, which I like to ride large bikes across the board, like I would be so straight, like
your raise
uncomfortable.
was a medium?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
it was. So yeah, I mean, those are like, you know, pretty historically like oversized for the size they are, but yeah, I had SB165. I got a medium, and because that bike I felt like was pretty big and large. So
and you wanted to ride more like a park bike versus a long, stable race bike. So
yeah, so
It's not set in stone.
it's not. It's really not in concrete, and like, you know, you can it's a fluid thing, right?
Yeah.
It's totally fluid, and you get whatever you feel. And
Some companies also have S sizing too, so it's not
Yeah.
even small, medium, large. It's
Yep.
which
S1,
I do
S2,
think it's
S3.
I think that's a little bit better. It's a little bit more confusing to wrap your head around,
It is.
but it doesn't lock you into I'm a medium.
Yeah.
I'm only a medium.
For sure.
And I will
It's like
forever
what style
ride
of
a medium.
riding do you
Yeah.
want to be going towards?
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and if you look at pros, they're pros, so they're a little different, but like a lot of EWS pros size down.
yeah,
Most of them.
They're running super small bikes, super narrow handlebars, but they're also the best riders in the world. So don't compare yourself to
Yeah,
them.
but that being said, they're not going into some like, oh, I rode a large on my last year's sponsor, and this year I'm also going to ride a large. Like everything changes, and setup changes and everything. So
yeah. It's
Yeah.
up for interpretation, as they say.
yep, try one out. That's
Yeah.
the best thought.
Yeah,
Try
if you can,
medium.
if you can
try
demo
large.
a bike out,
Yep.
that's how you'll know.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then, you know, maybe your buddy be like, oh, well, I guess maybe I am on a large on this bike, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of winning things, who would win in an arm wrestling competition out of the Worldwide Cyclery staff?
All staff, I'd have to say Waymeyer.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. He does work out a lot, huh?
He works out a lot.
It would be Waymeyer versus John.
Yeah.
Mm,
See, I was thinking Zach initially before Waymeyer, because Waymeyer
the-
actually works out.
Waymeyer's a beast.
Waymeyer's a
Waymayer's a
beast.
beast.
And
Yeah.
Zach doesn't work out like
I
that.
just saw him doing some CrossFit,
Yeah.
pull-ups today on Instagram, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this.
Your
And I-
shoulders would kill you.
He's
Yeah.
an animal, dude.
So
Yeah.
I'd have Waymeyer.
I would go Waymeyer,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean, John is pretty built too, though. But I
He's a
think
big boy.
Waymire probably just like puts
It'd be
in that work.
We should like have them.
I'd
do
say
it.
John and Weaver would be a good match.
That would be a good match.
but I think Waymeyer would beat them both. I think.
Yeah, he's just way stronger than
Yeah.
anybody.
Yep.
This could be we could settle this on the Mammoth trip. You know,
Yeah.
We should though.
that'd be
I
great.
ain't doing that. I'll dislocate a shoulder.
Well, Liam, you want to read that next one?
Yep. What is a good bike for riding around the neighborhood? Lots of concrete and jumping around on the sidewalks and stuff, but also rips to the bike park and on trails. Looking for something that is not too expensive as well.
Oof.
That's a tough one. See, when I put this on here, I didn't see the on trails part because
Yeah.
I was going to be like, oh, dirt. Oh, also rips at the bike park. Oh, actually, never mind. That was a different question I'm thinking of. I would say 27.5. Something, anything like trail bike 27.5.
Yeah.
You can rip dirt jumps, like go to the bike park.
I
Trails.
don't know. I would say the new Rebel Rascal.
That's
thing
what
is so fun, man.
When I read this question, the Rascal V2 is the first thing that came to mind.
Really
Because when I rode it on the trail, I felt like I was on a little play bike.
interesting.
It was like the most playful bike I've ever ridden.
That's
by far.
So fun, so playful.
And you could ride that at the dirt jumps if you wanted to. You could go around the neighborhood. It'd be fast.
You'd hit
True.
bike park day on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
okay.
that's not too expensive. I mean, all these bikes are expensive,
Okay,
so that's
okay.
tough. But
Yeah.
that's an anomaly. But
Yeah, Rascal. See, in my head, I was thinking like dirt jumps and stuff, so that's why I was thinking 27.5. But if you're just doing that kind of stuff, then I would do
yeah, like you could do
29.
like the Yeti SB135.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
That's still
could be
expensive.
Not
though.
a cheap bike,
No,
but
not
May-
cheap.
maybe-
at the
bike.
same time, like the 27.5 like only bikes
I guess you
are
could-
super fun. But
You could go
I think-
original Rascal probably.
I
right?
think like
mean,
the 29 is more fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just faster.
I think so.
You can pump more. It's just fast and carry speed everywhere.
Yeah.
To me, that's what fun is to me.
might be able to scoop up Rascal V1 on on the low.
Or I would say an older 5010.
Yes, I
Yeah.
had the same thought.
Yeah, an older 5010 could be cool.
I love that
And you
bike.
could probably get those pretty cheap right now.
Yeah,
I would see the 50-1 older videos of
Yeah.
those dudes just
yeah,
shredding the 5010s.
ripping, dude.
Yeah. Doing
So sick.
skate park maneuvers on 5010s.
Yep.
So
Pretty cool.
sick. Yeah, that was honestly one of my favorite Santa Cruz bikes I ever rode. Well, how about this one? I could really use your expert perspective on a marital dispute. I used the handle Crankhound on some online forums. I intended it to carry the connotation that I like to pedal a bike. My wife saw it and, aghast, said the Crankhound made it sound like I'm a drug addict. What
Oh,
do you
yeah.
guys think?
Well, once you said it like that, yeah, it does, sound
never-
like you might be a bit on the sauce, but
the juice.
Crankhound sounds like it could be a sex addict too.
Crankhound, or yeah, you're into doing some other stuff. I don't know.
this is a
Crankhound.
PG-13 podcast.
Yeah.
boys. I don't know, man. It's an online handle. It doesn't do much,
I
right?
think it depends on your profile picture.
Yeah.
That too.
I would say change it, keep your wife happy. It's just a username.
Or lay down the law
Yeah.
and don't change it, and then you might be single.
Or like even like, take it a step further and get Crankhound tattooed on you and be like, I am the Crankhound. Own that.
with the big crank on there.
Yeah, with the chain ring and the
That'd be
crank.
cool.
Yes, exactly.
Then you can justify it, right?
Yes, exactly. I am the Crankhound.
That's funny.
I mean, it's a online forum. If your name's not attached to it, what does it really matter,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
you see gamer tags and they are wild,
Horrible.
right? Yeah, not PG-13 for this podcast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And people are always trolling on names that you don't know and stuff. And
yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say lean into that.
She'll be all right.
Yeah. I don't know. Or just don't bring up your usernames. I don't know. Either way. You guys want to lead, which one do you read that last
I got
question?
it. Hello, I'm a 16-year-old mountain biker who just dropped his life savings into a new SB115. I bought the bike in great condition. Considering the investment I made, I am looking on tips for maintaining a full suspension / Switch Infinity system. I know some of you guys have had Yetis, so I'm curious to see what y'all do.
Yeah. Sick. Congratulations.
yeah,
Sweet bike.
yep, good bike.
Had a few of those. Well, one SB115 and multiple SB100s, all with the same Switch Infinity.
So SB115 has the SI link on the back of the bike, correct?
Correct.
So it's not where it normally is right now, where it's kind of right above the bottom bracket.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to access.
Yeah, super easy to work on.
I think the newer one has like one bolt right on the little fender. Or does it pop on and off?
The fender pops off
Even the newest version?
of the 115.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it
Believe
just
so,
pops
yeah.
off.
So it just pops off. Honestly, people really overthink the Switch Infinity system. Just treat it like you do your dropper post or your forks. Just take a dry microfiber, wash your bike lightly with mist. Don't hose anything down with a jet spray. And use that microfiber just to kind of thread around the seals of that, keep it clean.
Q-tip helps a lot too.
Some Q-tips, cut your microfibers in thinner strips so you can floss them.
There you go.
Get the grease gun. Get the Switch Infinity grease gun.
And get the Switch Infinity grease gun and just make sure you keep that thing topped off on grease.
Maybe Loctite the bolts.
Yeah.
If they're not already.
Yeah.
Make sure to check those bolts frequently.
Yeah, on the 115, I would say check the bolts frequently because there's a lot of flex back there and this can get kind of damaged.
Get some red Loctite for those bolts.
Yeah, you don't want to ride and have that thing be loose and then like permanently damage that area of the bike.
Yeah, but the second gen of that Switch Infinity mostly fits
That's true.
for that.
The 115
system,
was much better than the 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for like normal Switch Infinity, there's the Zert fittings. So you get the grease gun, put them through, pump grease through until it's kind of spewing out the seals. Wipe them off with a Q-tip or a rag, whatever, some alcohol. With your 115, though, it's a little bit different. The Zert fitting is inside the bolt. So just make sure, it's kind of doesn't seem very obvious, but you put the grease gun in the bolt and then the grease is going to come out of the Switch Infinity for the 115. So a little different, but same concept.
Yeah.
And just keep up on that.
Yeah. Keep it clean. Keep your bolts tight.
Yeah. Super simple system, honestly. Like it is more complicated than it's not as complicated as it looks.
Yeah.
And just keep it greased up. I've seen some horror stories of people who have never done that ever.
Yeah.
And it's just not good.
Never tying the bolts, never greased in. They're like, why is my bike all floppy? It's
but I've also seen Switch Infinities get neglected and work perfectly fine.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I've taken some apart where they've never touched it and all good. So it kind of depends on your riding conditions, but yeah. Speaking of that, I should probably do that on my bike as well. Something I don't do enough.
Right. Well, that was the last one. That just about wraps this one up, boys.
Yep.
Thank
Short
you.
And sweet.
Cool beans.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this podcast, you want to review it on your favorite podcast platform.
And keep us the highest rated or the most rated? Which one of the two?
Highest rated mountain bike podcast in the world.
In the world.
Boom.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
That's wild.
People listen to us and think we're cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's crazy.
You guys are all pretty shifty fellas. All you listeners out there.
We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. I was finished what I was going to say. Screenshot your review. Send it to podcast@worldwidecyclery.com and you'll get a $15 gift card to the website. Get you whatever you want.
Keep sending in your questions and make them funny or ridiculous.
We do serious. Like the funny ones. You may have noticed there were a couple more funny ones this time. We like to keep it lighthearted around here. You know?
Yep.
Sick.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Love you long time.
All right, boys.
We love you long time. Cheerio.
Thanks, guys.